Hey everybody, it's Michelle. I probably look like crud right now. It's because I hadn't shampooed my hair. But anyway, I decided that I would go ahead and do a video of the Crustless pizza for you. So, I have to get it all together so that you can see what I put together. I'm going to give you the ingredients again and let you see how it's made. And then I'll do a taste test for you to tell you whether it's really good or not. And give you an update on that. So here we go. Okay, so we're going to start with the ingredients first, and I'm going to list them off real slow, okay? So I'm also going to show you what they are as well as post them on the thing. You need 2 eggs, any size I guess. It doesn't say large, medium, or small, brown or white. They just have to be 2 eggs. 1 package of cream cheese, 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. For your sauce, you're going to need tomato paste, 1 can, 1.5 tablespoons of dried oregano, 1.5 tablespoons of dried basil, 1/4 of a tablespoon of salt, but you could use a salt substitute to lower the sodium content, plus it has potassium in it if you do, and 2 teaspoons of garlic. You may want to raise that up. You're going to season it to your taste. Cooking spray, a 9x13 baking pan, or a pan, flat pan. No, it's going to be a baking pan. Toppings of your choice, so anything healthy is good. Mushrooms, olives, pepperonis, onions, bell pepper. If you like anchovies, you can add those too, I guess. And your choice of cheese. They suggest mozzarella, but I use a mix of mozzarella and sharp. So here we go. This I wanted to show Mary this real quick because she's a monkey lover like I am, and I have a whole set of this stuff because I found it at Target really cheap because I need to have smaller plates after the surgery. I went ahead and got a little bowl, a little plate, and and a cup. So Mary, this is for you. That's a bowl right there. And that's what I'm going to be mixing everything in. Now here's the 2 eggs right here. Here's the package of cream cheese, and yeah, I use Walmart brand because it's often cheaper. Parmesan cheese, salt, sea salt for me. I'll get some other stuff. Tomato paste, basil, and for oregano, which I know it's not, I'm using parsley. It's a flaky thing. And garlic. You're going to mix it all together and make the thing, and I'll be doing that video too, so give me just a second to start it. Okay, as you can see inside that bowl with the monkey on the bottom, I have already the cream cheese, that's this stuff right here, the 2 eggs, and the cup of Parmesan cheese. You have to sit here and mix it up, and my cream cheese is going to take a while, obviously, because it's kind of cold. You'd want to do this at room temperature for the cheese. It makes it a lot easier, I'm sure, but you get the point. You're going to want to mix this together, and I'll show it to you when it's done. Also, as a note, while you're mixing this, and if it is cold when you put the eggs in it, it gets a little bit looser as far as the cream cheese is concerned. This is one hand I'm doing it with, so it's not as easy for me. You're going to want to make sure you cut your oven on to 350 and let it preheat a little bit. So while you're mixing this, turn on that oven to 350. It's going to be important for the next step. Author says that when you create this crust, if that's what you'll call it, that it's going to be slightly soupy. I've had to add Parmesan cheese to it just to get it to this consistency, which I feel is probably pretty good. It's fairly thick, so that I can, when I pull it away, it doesn't immediately want to run back into the side. So that tells me that it's thicker than it was when I started, which was very soupy. But as you can see, it has a kind of a custard, puddingish type of consistency right now. So the next step that I get to do is I get to spray the pan and put this in the pan to let only the crust cook to start with. So I'll get to that in just a second. Yeah, that's not a 9x13 pan. The reason is because we have to cook out of our toaster oven, and that's the size of a toaster oven pan, which takes half of this stuff. The reason we don't have an oven is because a few years ago Oklahoma City had a big storm. It took all the power out of all over the city, and we went for 12 days in the middle and the end of January without electricity, and when we had it turned back on, it blew my stove, my refrigerator, one of the television sets, and some other stuff in the house. And the stove is the last thing that we've ever had to replace. And we're still waiting on an oven. It blew the oven out on our stove oven unit, so we don't have an oven that I can actually bake this in. So I have to use a toaster oven for that, but it's going to work out fine. What you do right now is with this, and you spray the pan, and then you put that mixture in it. You're going to place this in an oven on 350, which should have already been heating up for you, for 30 minutes. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, so I have in here that 1 can of tomato paste. I have in here parsley to replace the oregano, just because it's green and flaky. The basil, some salt, and some garlic. And for that, use that 1 can of tomato paste, 1.5 tablespoons of dried oregano, 1.5 tablespoons of dried basil, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of garlic, and you can add that up or down as you like. Now this of course is thick because of the paste, so the directions ask you to use as much water as you need to get it to the consistency of sauce. Now I think that you could probably use the sauce you find in the can, except there's more of the sauce than there is a paste. I've not been able to find sauce in a tiny can like that. So, but if you've got that around you, by all means go ahead and use that. I gotta stir this up. I'll be right back. That's my kid talking in the background. He's telling me about something he saw on YouTube. That's pretty much what this sauce for me will look like. It's still a little thick for most people. I could thin it out a little bit more, but I don't want to, because I think I'm going to make it too thin. It's spreadable anyway. And I'm going to use that, top it with some pepperonis and some cheese, and then I'll be cooking it again. Once that's done, I'll have that on here too. Give me just a few minutes for that. Checking on the crust, if you can see right there on the edges, it's already heating up enough that it's pulling away from the sides, so it is acting as a true crust, even though it was liquidy kind of when I put that in. It's got to get to a golden brown before you can add anything to it, and cooled off for 10 minutes prior to adding anything, because it's going to be super soft, and you don't want it to be. You want it to be solid when you add that wet sauce on it. There it is, y'all. There's the pizza crust base, or the crust anyway. It's just a little bit darker than it should be, probably because it was on the top rack of my toaster oven. But if I could tell you what the house smells like right now, you'd be amazed. It smells just like pizza crust. That's amazing to me how it's like that. I'm going to give it a test here real quick. Hang on a second. Sorry about that going in and out. To get something. There you go, guys. The liquid has pretty much turned into a solid, or a bread-like base consistency. Baked egg on the top is what it looks like. I have to let it cool for approximately 10 minutes, and then I can put the sauce on it. So we're going to let this, it's pretty hot, we're going to let that cool off, and then I'm going to put the sauce on top of it. So I'll have a picture of that as I go and get that done. My pizza all pepperonied out. I have actually 2 layers on there, and my cheese, mozzarella and sharp cheese. Now the next thing you do, and this is completely cool now so I can touch it all over without burning myself, just like that. It feels like it's been in the refrigerator actually. The next thing you do is you put this back into your oven on 425 for 15 minutes, or until your cheese is melted. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So there it is in the toaster oven, and it's going to cook for 15 minutes. And when it comes out, I'll do a taste test. Again, slightly burned. But you know what? I like my food like that. It doesn't look all that lovely right now. It really doesn't. It looks kind of gross if you look at it like this. But there's the pepperoni, the sauce, the cheese. Look at it. Just like the cheese on a regular pizza. There's the crust. Pretty thin. Edible. Sturdy enough to hold this, I'm imagining. So now we're going to cut. Cut me some. I'm going to eat it on this. You see that, Mary? You see that? That's another monkey thing. That's a plate